Wednesday. It's 4 o'clock Eastern Daylight Savings Time. Welcome to the 20-minute cooking school. This is Claire Tansey's kitchen, which means I am Claire Tansey. Today we're making scones, or are we making scones? So, extraordinary response on whether they are scones or scones. Not quite as heated a debate as the whole raisins and butter tarts thing that I won't even bring up. But people have opinions whether it's scones or scones. I'm pretty sure I grew up saying scone, and now I say scone. You know what? Listen, Michael, the guy I live with is British. He says scone. My mother sort of has some Scottish heritage. She says scone. Guys, here's the best part about it. It doesn't matter. Okay, we're making scones, and you're gonna make them for Mother's Day. You're gonna make them when you're watching the royal wedding. I'm gonna make blueberry scones today. You can make them plain. I don't care. Up to you. And this is such an easy scones are like. Are they easier than muffins? They might even be easier than muffins. These are so easy. So yet another quick bread, which is, you know, in the same family as muffins and banana breads and pancakes, frankly. And oven's ready. So as with all of those things, this starts with flour. And 2 cups of flour, but of course I'm using the old scale, which means it's gonna be 300 grams of flour. Now, of course, you are more than welcome to use half whole wheat. Let's see, 270. But you see, the thing I've been doing lately, I am physically incapable of making a baked good that is 100% white flour. I don't know what to tell you. So I've got this, months ago I bought this bag of ground flaxseed, and taking a cue from Marilyn Smith, who puts ground flaxseed in everything, I'm just gonna go ahead and add like a ginormous heaping tablespoon, maybe another. Because, listen, no one's gonna notice. Also, it's delicious. Also, ground flax. So you can use half whole wheat. You don't have to use flaxseed. It's just, as I said, physically incapable, because also blueberries, so my kid's gonna love these. Now, ground flaxseed, you go away. Now, much like muffins, these babies are raised with baking powder, just baking powder, and they take quite a bit. So this is a tablespoon of baking powder, goes in there. And then this is where you may start to think about, you know, the whole baking powder biscuits slash scones slash, oh, hi Thomas. Hi puppy, we're just on TV. Do you want to come and say hi to everybody? Come on through. Come on, bring new dog. Come on. Hoppa! Hey, I was just saying that, there's new dog. I was just saying that you like everything that has blueberries in it. Is that true?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Good. What are you going to do now?
Swim lessons.
Go on, Teddy.
Not lessons.
Not lessons. Just go and have a nice swim.
Whee.
And there'll be lots of lovely scones for you when you come back.
See you later, friends.
What have I done? Right, so baking powder, no baking soda in this one, just baking powder. And then salt, you're gonna need some salt. If you're gonna use unsalted butter, which I happen to have a little lump of unsalted butter here, you're gonna go for a little, just extra pinch of salt, but if it's just a half teaspoon of salt. And then sugar. Now, you can go as low as 2 tablespoons, you can go as high as a 1/4 cup, or you can do what I do, 3 tablespoons, halfway in the middle. So that just gets mixed around. And this is, like I said, it's just like pancakes or banana bread. You just mix up the dry ingredients first. But unlike muffins or waffles, thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Thomas, or waffles. Unlike those things, I'm actually gonna put I don't need a second bowl. There's no like wet ingredients and dry ingredients. So let's get, now, are we making blueberry? Do you want to make plain or do you want me to make blueberry? Blueberry or plain? Plain or blueberry? You know what? What do I do? I'll make plain. I'll make plain it is. Plain it is. So I need the butter. I'm going to get the butter, which is in the freezer. Now, this is, remember when we were making pastry and we had the butter and I was like, it's got to be cold? Plain. Okay, we got some plain. We got plain. Okay, plain. Everybody, bye, sweetheart. Have fun at the pool. See you later. Bye-bye, lovey. You can leave the door open. Thank you. So, remember with pastry, you need to have the butter in little pieces and they have to be really cold. So, this comes right out of the freezer. And this is 1/3 of a cup, which I measured earlier when I was doing some baking. And the thing is, when you're going to grate it and you need it frozen, it's hard to measure it without a scale. So either you measure it in a cup or you slice it off with a brick, because you know, if you have a little bit more, a little bit less, it's fine. And then you freeze it. Or you use your scale and you want to tare this and you want to make sure that that is going to be 85 grams, which is exactly what it is. And then, this is so easy. Then you just grate it in. So, sorry, move you there. And when I say grate, I mean grate. And so what this does, and if you've ever seen like other people making scones or pastry in the food processor, or like as my mother always did, she does it by hand. And so you gotta like kind of get in there in the flour and you gotta make the butter into little teeny tiny pieces. But of course, as the butter gets warm from your fingers, which are generally quite warm, you tend to melt the butter, and then anyway, it's a whole long situation, right? So when you grate the butter, you get it into those little tiny pieces and you don't really touch it. It gets a little bit slippery down here at the end, so just watch those fingers. There we go. All right, so now that's in there. Make sure you get all that butter, all that delicious butter. So 1/3 cup butter, which is 85 grams. Give or take. And then see how they're all in those beautiful little teeny tiny pieces. So now I just need to give that a little toss in the flour mixture and give it just so that the butter sort of separates. You want to get in there. I always use my hands. You can of course use a spoon. You just make sure that all the butter is sort of nicely incorporated and each one gets coated with flour. And then, quick rinse. You need the milk. So milk or cream. Cream is going to make them just a slightly more tender and richer. Milk a little less so. The thing is, these are so easygoing because you've got the butter. Oh, flake of butter. No one escapes. No one gets out. No butter gets out of here alive. Because you've got that nice butter, that nice 1/3 cup of butter, they're going to be tender. And so if you use cream, if you have cream, go for it. If you have milk, also fine. So I believe I might not have quite enough. We may have to do another good one. You always do a little combo. And you measure out a cup, but you might not use the whole cup. Well, look at that. That's exactly 1/3 of a cup, 3/4 of a cup. So you're going to use either 3/4 of a cup, somewhere between 3/4 of a cup and a cup. And it's just like, well, you may recall from our bread lesson that sometimes flour is a little bit more absorbent. It wants a little bit more liquid, and on other days it's a little bit more humid, and so you need a little less of it. So it's one of those things that I believe in you. You can judge this for yourself. So you go ahead and add about 3/4 of the cup into the lovely bowl. I will now switch to a spoon. Leave about that much, and then, as my mother and grandmother would say, just enough to make a good dough. So helpful, isn't it? I mean, what the heck does a good dough look like? So I can tell you that a good dough does not look like this because this is way too dry. It is still a little bit spring-like here, not very humid here. So I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of that. So that was about a cup, no, definitely a cup of some cream and some milk. And then that gets tossed around. So now, yes. Now I'm scooping up all the flour and kneading it with the spoon just a little bit, just to make sure I get all the flour mixed up in here. Now, meanwhile, the oven is at 400 degrees, nice and hot. And there, see, this is looking like kind of a shaggy dough. So it's looking like a shaggy dough now, but there's no like big pile of dry flour down at the bottom. So that's how I know I've got enough liquid in there. And then I'm just going to do a little one of those. You see how easy? What do you think? Easier than muffins? Ah. Now you can add. Now listen. I don't want to say this word and have everybody freak out, but you could certainly add raisins to this. Okay? Or lemon zest. Or if you want to do some frozen fruit or some fresh fruit, you add it just before. I'll put this in the recipe. You add it to the flour mixture before you get the butter in there. So very adaptable and accommodating. But of course, if you're going to serve them with jam and butter and possibly some lovely Devon cream, you probably want them to be plain. And then out you go. Bit of a mess. All good. And just kind of knead it together into a giant circle, ginormous cow pat of scone batter. And I'm kind of rough with it. Am I rough with it? I'm certainly rougher with scone dough than I am with pastry. And then you pat it into like I'm gonna say about 1.5 inches, but no, 1 inch. We're gonna go with 1 inch. So about 1 inch, roughly a circle, a nice artisanal circle. Look at all that ground flax in there. Okie dokie. There we go. Nice. Very good. And then, now you can cut these out and make them round. White chocolate chips and orange zest. Also an excellent combination. Raspberries and white chocolate would be good. Orange and dark chocolate would be good. It's a blank canvas. Have fun. Yes, now you can use a round cookie cutter if you want like round scones, or round scones, up to you. But you always end up with one that's like the runt of the litter, because you get this sort of trim, and then you have to take the trimmy bits and shove them into a circle, and I end up eating that one before I serve them. So this is a good way to get to use up all of the dough. You can go into 6s, like 1 and 2. That would be some nice big scones. Or you can do them into 8. Guys, I don't know what to tell you. I am feeling generous. I think we're going to do 6. Everybody likes a nice big scone. And then over onto the, parchment on this. Yeah. There's some parchment here. I got this guy from earlier. A little parchment. A little transfer. Nice. Oh, look at how flaky that is. It's gonna be good. How did you not get any flour on you? I don't know, because I'm wearing black, which is truly, it's a miracle. The thing that I always get on me is chocolate. I seem to be able to live without flour on me, but if I'm ever working with chocolate, it's all over me. All right. Now then, I'm glad to see that Julie Van Rosendahl is here, because hi Julie, I'm about to use a trick that you taught me, which is, well, not really. I originally started this trick because you taught me about when you're at Starbucks or whatever getting your coffee. I take my coffee black, so every now and then hi. Oh gosh, who's phoning? I can't talk to you right now. I thought I was on Do Not Disturb. Anyway, ignore. So when you're making muffins, or you're speaking my scone language. Well, when you're making muffins or scones, and you want that nice little crunchy top, when you're at Starbucks and you're getting your whatever, you take a little packet of the raw sugar, the really coarse stuff, and then you just tuck that into the pantry like a crazy old hoarder. And you use that to sprinkle on top. Anyway, then one time I had to do it on TV, so I wasn't allowed to use the packets of sugar from Starbucks. So I had to buy this whole huge container of turbinado sugar. Anyway, thank you, Julie. I love that tip. And I use it all the time. Totally optional. You see how there's just a little bit of cream left in my measuring cup? So what I'm going to do, you can see these, can't you? Yeah. Just a little brush of this extra cream on top. A little short here. I'll do a little bit of milk as well. And this is just, I'm gonna put this on, and then I'm gonna sprinkle with turbinado. You can also sprinkle with granulated, but the turbinado is like super, super pretty. So it's nice if you like to bake and you make scones and muffins a lot. I know, right? Exactly. exactly. Thank you, Julie. So I then do a little sprinkle. I mean, the turbinado sugar is just so pretty. And of course it gets that little extra bit of sugary crunch in there for you and helps the top get a little bit more golden. So these are beautiful and ready, and it's 4:16 and I have been yammering like I don't know what, but a person coming out of seclusion. So you can make these, I mean, you can make these in less than 10 minutes. You can have these in the oven in less than 10 minutes. And then they go into the oven for like 17 to 22 minutes at 400 degrees. And then they come out and then you eat them. So let's just pop them in the oven, shall we? Into the oven, and we will set the timer. Now they do get a little dark on the bottom, which I find quite nice. It's a little bit crunchy. And then you know what? Go ahead and eat them. So what do I want to sum up for this? Listen, they're scones. They're both delicious. Have fun with them. Add whatever you want-ish. And happy royal wedding and happy Mother's Day. Thank you for tuning in to the 20-minute cooking school. It's only 4:16, so we have 4 whole minutes left. If you have questions, I will just come around so that I can actually read them. And we will do an extreme close-up. Yes, I'm sorry, Heather. I also wish that they were here. Let's see. Oh, you buy it at the bulk store. Oh, that's very smart. Mike Tansey buys his turbinado sugar at the bulk store. And right, Julie, you pay $5 for a latte. You know, you just take a couple of packets. And how many, right? Like, because as I said, I take my coffee black. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to... What am I supposed to say? I don't know. I've been watching too many YouTube videos with Thomas. Don't forget to subscribe and like. Don't forget to go to my website to find out all about my book. I am not here next week. I will be in North Carolina, so I will do some kind of live at 4 o'clock if I can. Otherwise, I will see you in 2 weeks. And in the meantime, fire away with any questions. I hope you enjoy your scones, and I also hope you enjoy your scones. Lovely to see you. Talk to you soon.